Okay, so y'all can't really see much, but this is the fit for today. Very flowing, it's giving whatever it's giving. Um, oh, yeah, I'm at work. I ain't doing that, but I'm at work. Let me mute them so we can get into the story time. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, I was not born in Georgia. Y'all can see my baby. Isn't he so cute? I love him. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, um, I was born in North Carolina, raised in Georgia, and we're gonna do a story time. I don't know if I'm gonna cover all of it or if I'm gonna do it in parts, but we need to have this fucking talk, okay? Let me fix the camera. There we go. Okay, so I moved to Georgia and my siblings were in elementary. I don't know if I had started school yet or not. And I believe I already had did kindergarten elsewhere. But yeah, so we're gonna get into it. At first, school in Georgia was a fucking amazing. It was so much fun, so many field trips, a lot of different Black history museums, farms, etc. I loved it. My first teacher, y'all, me and her were so close. My parents used to let me go to her house. Like literally, I was that kid that was at the teacher's house on the weekend, helping her with whatever around the house in her garden. Like we were close. I love her. I miss her. I cannot remember her name though, but I feel like I always have an image of her in my head, no matter how old I get. She's the one face I don't forget. She made a great impact. Now, let's get to the bitches that came after. Okay, after her, school was fucking horrible. So I went to Heritage Academy, and when I went to Heritage Academy, we had this teacher that used to bully the students. And for those of you that know what Heritage Academy is, yeah. So when I went to Heritage Academy, we had this teacher that used to bully all of the students. And I remember one day she had told this one kid that his dad was gonna get raped in the ass and a whole bunch of extra stuff. Like this lady was like that. And she used to beat on the kids, throw desks at them, slam them into corners. And I honestly thought this was normal because my brother lived in Florida and he was like, in Florida, our teachers can whoop us. So I'm like, well, maybe they can beat the fuck out of us. Maybe this is a southern thing. So I didn't really pay no attention. And help me if I get the schools wrong. If you went to these schools, you'll know exactly who these teachers are. Like if I mix this teacher up with the school, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. So, fifth grade, this was the worst school year in my entire life. And this is when my family realized that Georgia school systems are extremely corrupt, depending on what county you're in. And so, I went to Liberty Point. I really am. This is going to get on my nerves. Yeah. I went to Liberty Point and I do not know my teacher's name. I think it was Miss Smith, but I'm not too sure. And this was when they first introduced that reading system to try and get more kids to read. So it was a game. You won prizes, game systems, money, etc. Based on how well you read and comprehend. Okay. So I was on it. Everybody used to be at recess. I'm over there trying to stack up some points because I want that PlayStation. I was on it. And this teacher was a very weird one. Um, she was very odd. So eventually, once the class had got comfortable and she got comfortable with us, she started to only teach the Bible. And this wasn't a Christian school, wasn't a charter school, religious, none of that. It was just a regular public school. Literally every day we was learning the Bible to the extent where a lot of the kids in the class barely knew any of the things that the kids in other classes knew. So you know how you go to lunch and you're like, oh, what's 5 times 5? What's 4 plus 6 times 7? Kids are throwing that around, and my class is like dumb retarded. Well, except for me, because my parents, when I came home from school, my parents made us study 2 to 3 hours a day, and it was stuff they made up. So it kept me on my toes. But for the other kids, I could really see how her teaching or lack thereof was impacting them. And so, anyways, Eventually, this woman had got super comfortable with the word of God, and she got to the point where she was like drilling and beating it into us. And a lot of kids in the class weren't even Christians. Some of them were Muslims, some of them were Jewish, some of them were Jehovah Witnesses, and some of their families were atheists. So it was very weird when I'm one of like 3 or 4 Christians in the class, because my parents were, we grew up Christian. One of 3 or 4 Christians in the class, and everybody else was like, what the fuck is this? And so she started to get really, really mad when kids would talk about their religion or they weren't really getting hers. So she started throwing books at us. She would take off her shoes and throw it at us. And morning prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance, my family had told me I was not allowed to, pledge my allegiance. But as far as morning prayer, I still did morning prayer. And so it made her irate. Like anybody that wasn't doing the Pledge of Allegiance, she would throw shoes at us. She would walk around pitching the students, and like if you did something she didn't like, she'd tell you that she's gonna beat you later in the week. So kids would literally come to school crying every day because they're like, when is she gonna hit me? It was like that. And this was also the same exact class I went to where we had a student that was a bully, but he was like really weird, and I'm gonna talk about that at the end. But back to her. So yeah, it got to the point where she was throwing shoes and stuff at us. Then one boy's mom, he went home, had a big ass shoe print on the side of his face. Another boy went home, had a big ass slap mark on the side of his face. Their moms came up to the school, and their moms came up to the school to whoop her ass. So they was ready to fight, and the principal was like, no, there's no way she did it. They didn't do no investigation. They didn't suspend her, nothing. So once she saw that she could do it and get away with it, y'all, she was whooping our fucking asses in that classroom. I don't know why I thought it was so normal. I guess because when I moved to Georgia, a lot of the teachers were really abusive, either verbally or physically. I thought that, okay, maybe they can do whatever they want. And maybe this is a little bit different than what I'm used to. So her beating on us didn't really surprise me, because I'm like, this is a very aggressive and violent school system. So I just really didn't think much of it. And yeah, I just recently told my mom, which is why I'm going ahead and telling this story. But yeah, so she used to beat the fuck out of us. And I remember it was this fat boy. He was arguing with another kid. The kid was calling him fat, calling him names, and he was standing up for himself. And she was like, didn't I tell y'all to shut the fuck up? Da da da. And she was like, okay, I got you. I got you. When you come to school tomorrow, I got you. Since you don't have no respect for me, I got you. Like, not trying to diffuse the bullying, not trying to put the bully in his place and calm the situation down. Like, literally. Y'all, I missed something. She must have went on without me. Okay, but who cares? But yeah, so it was definitely weird. Like now. Okay, and I know you all are. Okay, and I know you all are probably wondering whatever happened to that teacher that was whooping our asses. Nothing ever happened to her. She was not allowed to teach there again after that year, not because she was beating the fuck out of us and had several complaints from parents and students alike, but because we had scored so low on the EO, well, not me, but I always score kind of top of the state, but a lot of students in our class had scored so low on the end of grade test that the school was appalled, and they were starting to wonder what the hell she was actually doing if she wasn't teaching anything on the goddamn curriculum. And so, yeah, my parents removed me from that school, and they never allowed any of us to ever go there again.